decent meme coin exposure, but also some agent exposure, right? And getting agent exposure is a bit harder because it's a bit it's harder to read. Most of the new agents like that are launching on CreatorBit, Virtuals, or whatsoever, they are pretty new, right? So you want to focus on like more launchpad like Virtuals, CreatorBit. That's what we discussed a bit about Bit token very soon. We had a crazy week, right? I think everything is getting aligned to have like a super strong Q4. Regarding the macro, regarding the rates, regarding the markets, regarding also the sentiment in crypto. So that's very cool. So I think we had Solana breaking $160, still a bit underperforming, but that's normal. I think ETF is still not here. We had MOG. It was, I think, one of our top meme coin conviction. I think if I were to rank like meme coins in terms of highest conviction, we had Popcat and MOG and Pengu, that were the top three, I would say, and then smaller ones, and really mugged kind of like the market. And as we discussed, below that threshold, it was like accumulation time. We do the research and everything. We discussed about it in many live, and clean breakout. This is one of them where like we haven't took any profit here. We want to let it run. And personally, everything I'm saying is not the financial advice whatsoever, but personally, it's one that I'm just letting it run, right? I don't want to take profit. I just want to keep my exposure, and that's it, right? It's not like Fartcoin when we discussed and we like take profit and sold. And by the way, Fartcoin looked a bit weak. So that's also like a very good alpha we had. Is basically we had, and that's the thing we want to do, right? And this is very, very hard. It's like you want to have some clean setup and clean trades. For Fartcoin, I think it was very, very cool. Like we purchased, we sold along the way. And then I think at some point here, I don't know, at some point here, we had no exposure. Like we sold everything. We did like a 2x, 3x, whatsoever. And then we let it, we were out. And since then, I did a small trade, I think here. And since then, the market is not doing much. And that's the best thing because then we can focus on other coins that are overperforming, make money, go back here and repeat again and again. So that's kind of like the best trades. So we had MOG really mogging the markets, one of the best IP out there. We have Sui also pushing, not too hard, but pushing, a cool ecosystem. I think it's one of the ecosystem guys you want to DIR, right? And I think that's one of the things I want to add in trenches now, because some of you like are really motivated to make it. Is like having some people being focused on one ecosystem, and then I think that could be very cool. Having some guys monitoring a bit, I don't know, DeFi on Sui, Memcoin on Sui, all these kind of factors. And when we all have that, we have eyes on the whole market. And, every time we have like somewhere, like something like really like moving, then we have a guy knowing it well that can help us. Then we do our research and, we can allocate capital and like make the best, out of the growth of the ecosystem. Really the goal is to make it, is to build generational wealth, is to like grow our USDT and our net worth. We had also Cookie eating like our entry zone. So Cookie is an interesting one. I think it's of course like a slower one based on like what it is, right? It's not a meme coin or whatsoever, but I think it's a very interesting one to get exposure to like social fi and info fi stuff. And the team is like super strong. Really love the Cookie team. Very strong team, really delivering, and the chart looks great, right? We had this pump consolidation, another like kind of like consolidation phase, and looks like a good exposure now. And so many others, of course. Popcat, I think is, and always, when a coin you have some conviction on is underperforming, that's cool, right? It gives you more time to accumulate or more time to, try to grow your bag, right? Because once the train is gone, the train is gone. And, that's the thing. And that's why retails are so bad at investing, because they always FOMO when the train is gone and when the train is waiting and everybody can jump in, nobody's jumping in, and then they FOMO, right? Which we should do the opposite, right? We should accumulate when it makes sense and then, wait for it to go out, to pump. So it was Popcat, Cookie. We shared it, we hit like the first buy zone. And so that's a good way to diversify the portfolio. Another small shout out to Pump Fund that basically, had like a crazy ICO, I think third biggest ICO of all time. They fundraised 500 million within 12 minutes, which is pretty insane. And they fundraised mainly from on-chain, right? Some transactions were really lagging behind. and so they fundraise from on-chain. Haven't looked at all the details on like who invested what, but from what I read is like half of that is from like only 1,000 accounts, so a lot of whales. It's really whale-driven kind of stuff, and yeah, so that's an important, I would say, narrative. I think they just announced that they will basically take all the revenue they are generating to buy back the token, which is cool, right? And yeah, so Pump Fund will be like, I think, a very important one to monitor for the coming weeks. Another one that is like very interesting is like, so once again, I had very little time this week, so couldn't check everything, but seems like this one is not a fake one, saying that like Powell is considering resigning. So when you have signs like that, most likely, it can become true. So if Powell is out, trust me, he will be replaced by a guy that is not like him in terms of like monetary policy, and that could be very, very, very hot. And that's the thing, inflation is down quite a lot. We want them to cut the rates. And the probability of rates being cut is going higher and higher every day, which is super cool, right? This is the thing we are expecting since quite some time. This is the thing we are predicting since quite some time. So once again, if we are right on this one, that could lead to a massive profit. And yeah, and I think if you look at, I received some message from Trenches. So of course it's a perm, that's cool, right? But that's not really the focus, right? It's cool, like we are making money and everything, but the goal is really to accumulate as much as possible and have like, when the pump is here, being super loaded and being able to really overperform the market. And how to do that? You need to be on the coin that are overperforming. And that's the important thing. That's really the important thing. Yeah. So feel free if you have any questions. Okay, so Cookie, should we wait 0.17? So no, I mean for Cookie, always, there is no rush in all these coins. You can miss some opportunities. I mean for Cookie, I want to be a buyer below, on my side below 0.15. So let's say below here. Yeah, below here. Wow. But if you don't have it, you can like grab a small bag, like a bit higher, and like do some research and see, and if you like the coin, like what they are building, and iterate, right? And that's why you should post limit orders. I think that's the thing that is missing in like what I see from you guys is like being really focused on posting limit orders, right? When you have like an opportunity or whatsoever, you post a limit order and that's it. And I had a message like that made me pissed off, no, I'm joking, right? On Sharkat, I think Sharkat, you can check in Trenches. I shared basically this analysis of like this green box when the price was here, right? So we really nailed it. And like, he was like, oh yeah, I feel Sharkat will break out. Should I buy now? Yeah, but you should have bought like, I don't know, below that, below here, below 0.004. Because like we shared it and then you put your limit orders, you get filled and that's it, If you don't put limit orders, when the price is here, you will be like, oh, I want to buy lower, or like I'm in FUD because the price is going down, or perhaps you will break out downwards and the quant was wrong. And so you are betting against me, which you should not do, right? Where to reaccumulate Pengu after this pump? So honestly, on this pump, I'm trying to let it run as hard as possible, right? So let me try to check a clean new chart. So I'm not really in a rush for Pengu, letting it run. So I'm keeping my bag. I exited a bit of profit here, now letting it run. And reaccumulation, it's very hard to say from here now, because it's more about trading. So it's more about like sometimes buying some dips and yeah, it's more about trading and investing now. And I want to be really focused for you on investing, because the thing is like most retail don't master investing in crypto. And so then they want to go to trading, and that's not a good recipe, right? Yeah, so that's a thing. But yeah, it's very hard to say where to reaccumulate Pengu. Very, very hard one. We will have to wait and see. Oh, sorry. Feel free to ask any question, guys. I'm just trying to organize a bit more. Yeah, really feel free if you have any question. So Pengu, we wait. Jem, what do you think about Nubcat? Yes, Nubcat. I had some question. I have, I have a small bag of everything, right? So I'm not because like I do it every day and everything. But yeah, Nubcat like really performed well. I think the most interesting with like the fact that it's performing now is like, why is it performing? Trying to explain that and like be like, okay, I saw that and I think it will be and then this coin at that, and so it will overperform. But yeah, it overperformed because I think it did like a 2x, 3x, 2x. And I mean, it's a cool meme coin on Solana. The thing is, like, we can't be on all of them, so that's why the goal is to select the ones that makes more sense, I would say, or like you are the most bullish on. Oh, okay. And make your opinion. You can't be on all of them, right? And I don't recommend you to be on all of them. Otherwise, then you will be. I don't even follow them. That's funny. And otherwise, you will be a bit lost. But yeah, have a look. Try to understand why it's pumping. It's the train for me has left the station, so I would let it go. But yeah, it's a good one. If you have a bag, I would not take profit here. I would really wait. When you had like a good entry on like those kind of meme, you wait. You really wait. You don't want to take profit too early. Okay, we have lost. Just see my screen now. Should work, right? Let me check the chat. It works. Okay. Yeah. So feel free to ask me all your questions. So yeah, for Nubcat, if you have a bag, if you have successfully like take a bag, on many meme coins very low, just don't sell it, right? For example, like me, I don't know my entry price on Mug, but I really want to let it run. I don't want to take profit on this one. But once again, like all our risk profile are different. I'm going a bit more degen, on the one that I have like convictions. But for example, one where I have less convictions, which is for example like Bonk, I think I will reduce my size here, and I think I will take profit a bit of Bonk here. Just because I have I have a lower like conviction, and I want to get back some cash to like either rotate or buy another coin, I would say. So I know what I was saying that you missed, but feel free to ask. Recap on Pengu, it would be hard to grab a bag investing wise, but it's more trading now, trying to buy some dips, but don't use leverage. What else, yeah, cookie, wait. If you missed an opportunity, wait, but really try to place some limit orders, because if you don't place limit orders, you will miss again the buy opportunity kind of. And then we have other coins like slightly underperforming or overperforming. Solana still a bit weak. So I think for Solana, it needs to have a bit more news or like a big win, meme coin related or whatsoever. Interesting zone, I think, to take a bit of profit, for BTC, ETH, Solana, just slightly, to replace a bit lower or just to get back a bit of cash if you were exposed to those main ones and like you take a bit of profit, I would say. For BID, it had a very interesting move, like a really interesting move, because it had like a big dump, and now it's consolidating, and you see that it's a strong coin because it had like a crazy pump, of course, like a big dump, but once now that it's here, the price, I would say, action, you really see that you have some guys accumulating, selling, accumulating, and everything. It's working now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, guys, because I think I missed some that you asked previously. And so you can see that the price action is pretty strong. And yeah, on my side, like I had some orders here posted, and then I wanted to have some orders, a bit lower, like let's say 0.09. So let's say 0.11, 0.09. We purchased some below 0.005, around that, or a bit lower. But if you are in a rush, you can really wait. But once again, I think it's important to have some agent exposure that is very hard to get, and the best way to get it is through agent launchpads like CreatorBid or like virtuals, and you have other ones. So I don't really like that. I have orders all the way back down to 0.42. I don't have like, if you post like orders like that all the way down, I don't think it's relevant, right? You need to buy key support rather than selling than buying like that. Another one, I think a good exercise was like Pepe. And for example, that's a good example. For Pepe, we sold here. Remember, like I know we had the bag, we sold here. It just went below the buy price. For me, I didn't touch because I wanted to buy other coins that I felt were going to overperform. And now it's in a middle zone. So of course the structure looks a bit topish here because of the wicks and everything. But so you can take profit, for example, if you purchase here and you make money, right? So it's more like a trade to make money, or you can wait for it to like go a bit higher and like take profit. But you really have to differentiate like the coins that you buy to make some quick dollars, or like the coins that you buy just because you have a conviction and you want to get more exposure. If that makes sense. So feel free to have any questions. How do you use that the chart looks toppish? So like, yeah, here it looks toppish because you look it, you have some weeks, so you have some guys that sold aggressively and it doesn't look good, right? And I think that's the main issue of Solana since quite some time now, is like every time it pumped, it doesn't look good because you have like some weeks and like it looks weak in terms of price action and all these kind of things. And that's, I think, an issue. An interesting chart is if BTC also. And I think that's why the market is breathing a bit, because if BTC is not underperforming, I would say it's square. It still hadn't like really had the pump, I think we were discussing perhaps beginning of May, if it was with you. But let's hope like we have a consolidation here and we have like if overperforming BTC. Because if starts to overperform BTC and like we have a pump of like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30%, that would be very interesting for the crypto market in general. So that's a very interesting one. And then we have some coins that are super slow, like for example BNB. But if you have BNB in the folio, it means like you have a big capital, I think, like a big portfolio in crypto, and then you are just diversifying. Same for Tao, very, very, very slow. And I told you like some coins will be very slow, and so you should not be frustrated by that. I think a good example of them is FWOG. It's super, super slow, and that's cool because the slower it is, the better. Because if you have a conviction on a coin, the longer it stays below like a level, the more you can accumulate, or like build this conviction. I think that has been the issue with which one? Mug, it's okay because we saw it like quite some time low. Pengu 2. What coin have we missed that's starting to pump like crazy? Perhaps none, I would say. Or perhaps, yeah, it's hype. Hype at some point, here I wanted to accumulate, but it didn't stay quite some time, below $20. It stays what? Like only 2 months, but and so then only up. 2 months is very short, and then you are a bit trapped, I would say. Then we have Popcat, not super strong, but the chart looks super great. But that's cool, right? Because if it goes back below 0.3 or 0.25, I think I will buy again. But here I'm not buying, So yeah, I would say here buying. So here buying. Oh, sorry. So buying. Oh, yeah, buying. And above that, not buying. No, and you should just wait. And try to be very very precise regarding that. I think that's the main issue with retail, is like you just buy randomly. And if you buy randomly, then it will be hard for you. Like if you buy just because a friend told you like, yeah, it's bullish, then you buy, right? I think a good example is Pengu now. Like everybody wants to buy it, but you had a lot of time to buy it. And so then it's too late, right? And even though you have a big conviction on this one and like you're like, oh yeah, I think it will go higher like Mug, when it had pumped, it's harder to get in, right? And that's why, when the market is low, you really want to accumulate. Yeah. So I have a question, rotate Pengu to dog. So yeah, dog is one that I don't really like. So you have multiple ones, though. But yeah, not the one I really like. So I'm not, I'm kind of like passing on this one. I will not buy. But yeah, that's all the same thing. Oh yeah, on agent you have AI16Z, and I'm hesitating to add. This week I was hesitant to add a bit more, just because I want to have more agent kind of like exposure. But once again, I wanted to do some research before re-adding some. And so how to do the research is like you go on Twitter, you type AI16Z here, and you just read what are the latest updates, what is going on, and so on. So here, guy, okay, AI agent will rise, virtuals, AI16Z, okay. So it's more trading. So here it's more like kind of like trading stuff. I'm more like looking at like information, like some alpha, about the token. Any recent good launch, or I don't know, or any stuff regarding any good information, regarding the assets. Yeah, it's really trading. So perhaps because it's perhaps I have typed dollar AI16Z, right? Where it should be, yeah, the chart looks good. So perhaps it's more AI16Z thread. If you type that, perhaps you will have a bit more alpha. Yeah, not really. So you see that very few people, okay, so these are more interesting, you know? Okay, you have a bit of data here and so on. And that's how you do, you know? You have to look on Twitter and like figure out like some good threads and like just basically leverage the work other guys have done, you know, for you to have the idea. Yeah. Feel free if you have any question on anything, guys. Happy to give my thoughts, right? Um, but yeah, I would say the main stuff I had is like we need to organize a bit more in trenches to like have some guys being like on SUI, some guys being on abstract and everything, and for you to be proactive on like what you see or what you do and like recommend people to like help. Not giving financial advice, right? Everything I'm saying is not a financial advice, so you have to do another one because the live stopped and it's a new live, right? Um, and yeah, you know, but yeah, I think it's really the time for to have like, and if I think also like you as a crypto user to figure out like one ecosystem and spend a bit of time on that ecosystem, but being proactive, you know, like not dumb of like gambling vibe, you know, like trying to do research and understand kind of like where are the play and whatsoever, you know. So we have hype ecosystem, we have SUI. You know, on hype there is not only hyperliquid, you know, you have hyperland, you have silhouette, you have a lot of product coming up, you know. So there is a lot of interesting things to look at, I would say. Then you have also NFTs, you have a lot of stuff. So I would really recommend you to have a look to all of that and yeah, and build like some conviction or like becoming proficient, you know, on that. So yeah, Trump, you know, it's a hard one for me to buy. Oh, sorry. It's a hard one for me to buy, but it has a good distribution. It's listed everywhere. Just I think it's a bit sleeping. And the main issue I see with Trump is like we will see that. So we wanted to be short here, but he didn't pump enough. The thing is like we'll have like one Trump tweet, like but Donald Trump really tweeting about it, and the coin will have like a push of like I don't know, 100, 200%, or like I don't know, yeah, 150% or whatsoever. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to build a condition and be like, okay, I want to buy it. And I don't know the inflation on Trump, but most of the guys who I think bought like will sell on that part. So yeah, I don't know. That's just my take, right? 10 billion valuation. Yeah, I don't know. Hard one. I don't have any opinion on this one. I think another interesting one is Brett, right? I think what we said with Brett is like we don't want to buy it. We want to focus on more on Mog. And I think if we plot Mog USDT slash Brett USDT, the chart should be looking good. Okay, no. Oh yeah, Brett is with 2T, sorry. Mog USDT slash Brett USDT, right? Okay. Okay. That's cool, right, guys? I don't remember when we started to do that, but we started the live and everything, but we said, okay, this time we don't buy Brett, we only buy Mog. So that was alpha. That was alpha. Is there like a beta to hype? That's a good question. That's a good question. I have few ideas in mind, but that's a good question, I think. That's a good question to ask in the trenches group, right? And to figure out some beta. And you have some like direct beta and like indirect beta. Like for example, Hyperland is like a hyperliquid beta. It's not live yet, but perhaps they will have a point system or whatsoever, you know. And you have like a bunch of like that, you know. But and yeah, on hype you have one that is famous is Hyper, right? The meme coin. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you have a meme coin and you have another one. Okay, sorry. Yeah, Poly. I don't know Poly, to be honest, but it's a good question, you know. And that's why, you know, if one of you like goes super hard on hyperliquid, or two or three of you, you know, like looking at all these kind of things, and like you are like really pre-efficient, like we know that we like okay, we want to spend some time, energy, or like capital on hyperliquid. what should we buy, what should we do, right? Because the biggest wins, life cycle was not on the main layer, on the main asset, is like on smaller ones. For example, the idea is like, let's say you buy BNB. BNB performed well last cycle. Like, I don't know, perhaps it was like a 20x. But Pancake was like a 200x. And that's the thing you want to look at. It's like identify good ecosystem. I think that we've come to the time of that, and you see that the quant is often right. So we come to the time where like it's interesting to identify all good ecosystem and like grind them, like learn, this is where like the biggest wins will come here. We come from that, and I think it's really positive return to spend some time doing that. So Poly, I don't know if it's the good one, because I know it's one on abstract, right? But I haven't looked at it or really in details. But the issue I have on abstract is like all these coins, they are like cures to stay on abstract because there is no like centralization integration. So it's like you have a bit of mind share, you have some buy pressure, the price is going up. And then at some point, you have some people like not really liking it and the mind share goes down and then like you're a big fucked, right? So I don't know. It's hard for me to really have a conviction, on that one. Okay, let me follow. Yeah. And I think on the holders, that's the thing also like on I would say EVM, like on Solana, you have a bunch of alpha, on chain. On EVM, it's a bit harder, You have to look at all the portfolios and whatsoever. You have less tools to check that. But that's a good one, like to do research or whatever. It's more trading, I would say. Feel free if you have any questions. But yeah, I think it's a very interesting time to lock in and figure out some ecosystem. So list all the ecosystem, for example, DeFi on Solana, meme coin on Solana, new meme coin, OG meme coin, Sui, say, all these kind of things. Because, for example, like let's say Sui is the next like Solana, or like it has like its ecosystem like has a lot of growth, The guys who bought Sui, perhaps they will do like a 2x, 3x, 4x, which is cool, right? It's a lot of money. But perhaps the guys who have been in the trenches knowing Sui super well, they will buy like a meme coin on Sui, or like they will farm like an app or like a DeFi protocol, and like they will just make like I don't know 50, 100x, and so that's the thing to look at, and that's the thing to be focused on, I would say. Yeah. Feel free if you have any other question, guys. And then it could be more trading, For example, Poly, you could be more trading. You're like, okay, I buy, I think that, and then I want to sell here, and it's okay. For me, for trading, I'm more like I prefer to go like on bigger coins, Like for example, what I did on Sui. Yeah. But really, also do a recap of your portfolio. What do you have in terms of percentage, and have like a clear view. On my side, I would, if you're a bit risk taker, right? I would have like at least 10% meme coin exposure, at least 5% agent exposure, because I think these are like very interesting exposure, right, to have in the portfolio. And then I would select like few ecosystem and go like go deep on them, if that makes sense. Or like have a look of like all the ecosystem. Yeah. Every last cycle, the guys who made most money were the guys who like, predicted that, BNB will make it. They like grind it super hard BNB, and like they make money on BNB, then cake derivatives, and they did like 3x on BNB, then I don't know 50x on cake, 20x there, 20x there, and this is how you can make from $1,000, you can go to like 100k, 1 million plus, and then you had AVAX, was very easy to read, right? And we had like a crazy run up. So let me try to show you like. So if we take cake, it was listed. You see, like I was in the cake trenches back in the time, but yeah, it went to like I remember like $40 on Binance, and I think it's one of the coin I've made the best sharp ratio trade. Like I think I was like super early, and I really sold the top. I have videos I should find in back of me like selling the top on Binance of Pancake at $40 plus with some friends. And so really like Pancake went from I don't know if we have some charts that's often it's from Mexi, right? Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, basically it has this run up from, I remember it was below $1 when it was on chain. So when it was on chain, it stayed below $1 for quite some time, for a few weeks, perhaps few months, and you could like buy it and like stake it. It was yielding. So that's the thing, that we didn't have now because the fact that the market is down, and then we don't see it, right? But when the market is hot, yield will go up also, and so you will be able to buy a crypto, yield it, and the crypto is like going high, high, high. So let's say you purchase like some cake, like for $1,000, you yield it, for 2 months, and the yield was 100%. You grow your bag by 20%, and then the thing starts to rocket, and you make like 40x, 50x plus. So that was in that cycle. That was an easy one to catch, right? Then you had AVAX last cycle, where we basically had. Okay, so I think I need to go here. So AVAX, I'm not a big fan, to be honest. So I don't have it in my portfolio. I don't have AVAX exposure, to be honest. Not fudding, right? But giving you my opinion. And another one that was interesting was AVAX. I remember beginning 2021, it's starting to like rocket. Then it went down. So here it was like it went up because like people like the narrative was strong, but not many stuff was on AVAX. But because the thing pumped, many guys went starting to build on AVAX, right, or trying to do some forks. And then the price consolidating. I remember it was summer like 2021, and then it's starting to really rocket all the way until the end of 2021. And at the end, it was like at $140. And so if you purchase here, you made like a 10x plus. But that's cool, right? But the cool thing is like the guys who were like very early on AVAX or like really understanding what is AVAX, sorry, like they really made like 50x, 100x, 200x plus, because you were like on beta where you buy, you have a bigger return and whatsoever. And I think that's the thing you should be focused on. It's like once you have your portfolio being like well diversified, following the trenches alpha, and then you have your portfolio really growing. It's like okay, having in mind that then you want to take risk and take smart risk, and be on the relevant kind of like coins and whatsoever. And it takes time, it takes time to basically grind an ecosystem, especially that now I feel the market is a bit bigger, so you have a lot of things. If you take Solana, you have Solana DeFi. You have Depin, a coin on Solana. You have meme coin, OG, new ones. You have some agents. You have some ways to farm on Solana. The pools and whatsoever. So you have a lot of stuff, to make it on Solana. So that's something interesting. You have a lot of layer twos and whatsoever. And yeah, another example was Arbitrum, right? The guys who made the most on Arbitrum was the guys who were on GMX, and basically, okay, so it's not, and so it's not really, but basically GMX did I think like a 10x if you were early, but you were able to farm it and generate like crazy fees, right? So that's always the thing to keep in mind. So I think it's a time that's the message I wanted to send during this live. Is like I think it's a time where like it's interesting to be focusing on some ecosystem or trying to get a view of all the ecosystem. And I think the best way to do it is to go on DeFi Llama. So you have the overview. So you have already like a lot of, for example, you're like, okay, what is Spark? What is Spark? And trying to understand, okay, what is Spark? What is Ifify? What is Babylon? And you go down. And then you have, what is categories? Yeah, categories, yeah. And here you have all the categories. So it's kind of like, I would say, not all of them, but many of them, lending, liquid staking, bridge restaking, DEX, RWA, recurring staking, yield. Okay, let's go on yield, for example. Let's go on on-chain. There is basis trading. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, you have derivatives. And so you can go here and try to get some new kind of narrative and basically try to, you have one that is called Ponzi. What the fuck? And so yield, okay, you have pendle, convex, okay, and then you can try to better understand, what are they and what are they up to, what is the thing, not investing, you can just go and test, but basically with that you will build up your eye, you will be more efficient and yeah. So you have Jupiter Perp, Drift, GMX, Hyperliquid, UIDX, Ostium. Ostium is a new upcoming one. Example, you're here, okay, Ostium, there is some point system. Can Ostium do kind of like a Hyperliquid BIS or not, if not, okay, why, blah, 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 trying to understand, and so on and so on. And you do rinse and repeat. Okay, you have flash train. Yeah, feel free if you have any question, guys. Otherwise, I will go after that one. But I think, yeah, the goal of this week is to have you realize that now it's the time to basically be in the trenches and yeah. Q3, okay. Oh, it's interesting. You have the revenue and everything. Token, hold on, net income, okay. But yeah, that's something. If you really want to make it, that's how you should think, to be honest. So you have AI agents and everything. You look, you have creator bid, blah blah, and you can look at the fees. I think it's interesting. Okay, this is the fees they have made. Why? Then you go on virtuals. I think virtuals is printing. Okay, so for example, just on the fees, on Q3, virtuals made 43K. I don't know how accurate those figures are, And creator bid made more, and creator bid is 10 times less valued than virtuals. So if those figures are true, something is fucked up, right? So that's interesting. Okay, you have cookie. Okay, there is no metrics. But yeah, feel free to leverage all those tools, to really try to basically better understand how is it going and so on. So then you have a Ponzi. Okay, only 20K value locked. Yeah, okay. So I think that was it, guys. What is the best crypto ETP ETF to invest in? It's very hard to say, but if you do ETP, you have some funds and so on, but I would not do that. I would just directly go on Binance or whatever. We could cross-check revenues across different platforms. Yeah, of course. Latest question, what do you think about Ether depend on ETH? Yeah, Ether is a very interesting project. So I was an early stage investor on Ether. So I think I invested kind of 10 times lower than the price it is now. It has been struggle because the narrative is not that hot, but they got a Binance listing. So they don't have a Binance listing. Oh, they are on Binance Alpha, sorry. So not yet a Binance listing. So we see. I think that when the narrative, they had perpetual Binance listing. Yeah, I remember now. Sorry, but it's an interesting one. I mean, they generate quite some revenue. They have a lot of mindshare. It's hard for me to know is it valued the proper way here or not. I need to do more research, but it's definitely an interesting one to get exposure to AI or whatsoever, and also to agent because they kind of power a lot of agents behind the scene, just because of the fact that they invest or they give access or many agents use their tech rights. But Hyper is a good one. I think it's really a tier one project. It's hard to know if the valuation is fair now and if it is at 1 billion, it can go to 10 billion. So I don't know. Okay, guys, I will go. Feel free to ask any questions in the trenches chat. Try to check all the ecosystem. Make some move on your portfolio. Make sure you have a well allocated portfolio, I think you have a few weeks left to really do that the proper way. Then it will be too late. I think that's the thing we and all started to understand this week, is like you can be late in crypto. So time to clean your portfolio, and time to be proactive, and yeah, time to make it, So yeah, clean up your portfolio and figure out some ecosystem you want to do research on, or like you want to grind. Cheers, guys.